recorded live from the secret underground lair of Crimson Cowl Comics and Collectibles. This is the Crimson Cowl Comic Club Podcast.
The following issues may contain spoilers. I'm not lost, for I know where I am, but however, where I am may be lost. I'm Anthony.
Kirby, I am.
I'm Katie.
And I am Jim.
Welcome to issue number 307 of the Crimson Cowl Comic Club Podcast. Every time we record, we talk about comic books. We won't have a club discussion on this episode, but as a little teaser for upcoming books, we have the finale to Deadpool Wolverine WW3, issue number 3. What if Donald Duck became Wolverine one shot? What if Donald Duck became Thor one shot? The beginning of Marvel Zombies Dawn of Decay and the debut series of Minor Arcana. So those will be some upcoming club discussions here at the show. But on this episode, we're going to do weekly reviews. That's where we go back and forth. We talk about the books that we've been reading. They could be new, they could be old, but we're going to talk about them there. Then we're going to do part 1 of 2 of our previews over in the news section. That's where we do the Marvel and DC Comics catalogs for August 2024 for products coming out in October 2024 and beyond. So that is a setup for the show. But before we get into the weekly reviews, if you are watching Crimson Cowl Comic Club over on YouTube, you've seen our backgrounds. You're seeing Kirby's background. You got Jim's background. You got Katie's background. And then there's something different in my background because I am here to officially announce that I made a comic book, everybody. This is Rice Christopher. Hold for applause, please, here. All right. Getting all the applause. Good. Future Anthony will take care of that editing. So here we go. Behind the scenes, beginning of 2024, I decided to hunker down and make my own comic book of my own characters. Rice Christopher is a crispy rice man who goes on adventures, and those adventures are told to his grandchildren as they want a bedtime story. So that is kind of the premise for what this is an all-ages adventure. What's really fun and weird is that I've never had to officially talk about the book in this way, so I'm just kind of making up my script that I'm probably going to say many a times over. But that is the gist of it. It's a fun all ages adventure. I wanted this to be accessible to everybody. It's got some, action and humor and some superhero type stuff in there, a bunch of weird characters, all stuff created by me. 16-page story, and then the other 4 pages of this book include some activities. There's some comic strips in here, all original stuff. This book has been about a half a year in production. It's been super exciting, super fun, and it will make its debut on, and I have a little cue card up here, so I'm going to bring this up on the share screen. It'll make its debut at Milwaukee MightyCon Saturday, September 14th, 2024, Wisconsin State Fair Park. Go to mightyconshows.com for information. Now, if you've went to their website within the last couple months, you would have had it spoiled that I created this book because I did include the information about Rice Christopher in our little bio for Crimson Cowl Media. So secretly I did release this without advertising that, but I wanted that information in the ad in case anybody checked it out online. But when myself and David Gloyd return to our favorite location of Milwaukee MightyCon, this will be our 3rd time there. This will be the 1-year anniversary that him and I have been selling art at conventions, and I thought it would be a great time to debut this brand new comic book. So both myself and David will have our own comic books there. We've talked about Tales from the North on this very show, and this will be the debut of Rice Christopher, and we will have a creator-owned interview with the creator Anthony Laatsch. Crimson Cowl Comic Club's going to interview that guy about this book, so we'll do that as a separate episode down the line. But this is the official announcement. If you want more information for it, you can check out the trailer, check out my social media. All the information will be there. And because I mentioned the trailer, let's take a look at it now. In a world with so many stories, from movies to television, and of course, comic books, comes a story that's only available in one of the three mediums I listed earlier. What you are about to see in this trailer is a character debut like you've never seen before. And now, we are just buying dramatic time by repeating the same shots that you just got done watching. We are truly very sorry about that. And now, introducing Rice Christopher! And there it is. Oh, wow. What an awesome trailer that we 100% saw right now live. We definitely just saw that trailer. So, once again, this is just kind of a soft announcement of Rice Christopher. Go to my social medias to check it out and stay tuned to Crimson Cowl Comic Club and Cartoonist by Night for more information on how you can get your hands on this first original comic book done by me. All right, we are going to move on to the show proper with some weekly reviews of some other professional creators that have done some amazing work that got into the comic book game way before I did. So let's go over to the weekly reviews. First up for the weekly reviews is Barfly, #1, spinning out of the world of the hit Minor Threats superhero series by Patton Oswalt, Jordan Blum, and Scott Hepburn comes a new tale of costumed underdogs featuring low-level henchmen without a leader to serve. The Lair Bar is home to all sorts of supervillains, lowlifes, and scumbags, but only one of them has to puke digestive fluids onto his food to eat. We'll call him, for the sake of this episode, Crap Eater. The humanoid mutant fly is a loser, a lifelong minion who lives to serve his criminal master. But what happens to a henchman when he no longer has anyone left to hench for? A heartwarming, feel-good coming-of-age story about an insect monster man searching for his identity amongst the criminal underworld of Twilight City. After reading this synopsis, I'm going to have to punch up my Rice Christopher synopsis a little bit. A grimy punk rock odyssey that answers the question, how much crap can one lackey eat before he says no more? This comic book is done by Kyle Starks, Patton Oswalt, Jordan Blum, Ryan Brown, Kevin Nepstein, and Nate Picos of Blambot. All right. When Minor Threats came out, I think there was a main series, maybe a mini series. Then they've come out some spin-off series. I think I read the first two. It didn't really, I didn't really catch on to it. I do want to revisit it. But then when I saw Barfly, not knowing it was part of Minor Threats right away, I noticed the name of Ryan Brown. Ryan Brown is someone we talk about a lot on Crimson Cowl Comic Club, from God Hates Astronauts and Curse Words and so many other things. What's the 8 Billion Genies and so much stuff. And so when I saw him attached to this series, not only doing this awesome cover B, but also doing the interior art and working with Kyle Starks, Patton Oswalt, and the rest, I thought that was quite a winning combo of hilarity. Ryan Brown is hilarious. with his storytelling, whether he's writing and drawing his own stuff, whether he's drawing and co-creating with Charles Soule and all that fun stuff. I had a feeling that I didn't need to read any other minor threats, that I was just going to jump right into this. And because the comedy stylings of all these people seem like a home run. And a home run this was. I really enjoyed this a lot. Without knowing much about minor threats, you get a little context clues, you get an idea about the main villain that you're assuming is from the minor threats world. Characters whose name I forget at the moment here, but we see the character mentioned, the entomologist, I believe, is assuming the grander villain of the minor threats universe. But Barfly here, a crap eater, if you will, has basically a former henchman, and now he has basically his own job, and he's working at this burger joint. And what's really fun about Ryan Brown's art and anything that he does is that you're getting more bang for your buck, because he puts so many jokes into every panel, right down to like the logos and all the fake stuff and all the writing on the wall, the graffiti, the signs. There's just like a Ryan Brown made for Ryan Brown page here, where we see our Barfly character jumping into the burger joint, running late to get back to work, and we see a menu up here. And when I saw there was going to be a menu that's drawn by Ryan Brown, I knew there was going to be tons of stuff to look at. So looking at the menu, one item is called Surprise Me. One is One Long Fry. One is Very Wet Hot Dog. Then there's also hot beef chips. There's the Holy Cow, the Whole Cow. Then it's kind of cut off there, so I can't see what the last one is. Um, then there's the horse lettuce tomato. This one here is a reference to God Hates Astronauts, but the King Tiger Burger, because he has King Tiger eating a cheeseburger is the name of a character. So he had the King Tiger Burger in there. There's a fried soda on the menu. There's a bowl of mustard, mysterious nuggets. Um, so this is just one of, like, not even just the top of the panel. There's so much stuff to devour in this book, because Ryan Brown just will take basically the advantage of the landscape, and he won't let the palette be unfilled. So there's always something to watch in the art, but it's a really fun story. Yeah, it's what I would expect from all these people. Had some great humor and some awesome action, some great character setups, and yeah, I'm digging this, and I hope to see some more. I don't know how much Barfly or our crap eater character plays a role in the minor threats, but this does get me to go back to those issues and revisit them and try to get it back up on the ground floor here. Kirby, you also read this one. Any thoughts on Barfly?
Yeah, I just got the Minor Threats trade in the mail, so I haven't read that yet. I'm really looking forward to reading that run. But yeah, it's like another main character in here is that gridiron ghoul that just abuses them in the bar all the time and stuff. But yeah, it's got all the Ryan Brown stuff you love with all the weird things in the background and stuff. It's like I noticed on the Escape band that if when you see them first take off, they got the Insane Clown Posse license plate, and then if you go to the next page, it's a completely different license plate.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I don't have my glasses on right now, but it says like, what the heck?
That's hard to.
On the top left-hand corner there, it's Zort or something like that.
Yeah.
Or Bort, B-O-R-T. So I don't know why they changed that up. I'm kind of curious because it doesn't click with anything Insane Clown Posse I can think of. So not really sure about that. But yeah, there's so many things you can catch. Every time you read their stuff, you can go back through it and find things you never seen before, which is awesome. But yeah, and I like his little beetle buddy that's locked up in the zoo and stuff. It's like, no, I want to stay here. I like doing people watching. They stick their fingers in all kinds of holes, and they got this little kid coming up with his finger up his nose and stuff like that. It's like, oh look, here comes one now. Yeah, this is awesome. I'm glad I picked it up, and I'm really looking forward to checking out the trade of Minor Threats to catch up on everything.
And speaking of Ryan Brown and his humor, he's one of the inspirations why Rice Christopher exists, because the way it was done, and there's a moment in here. I was going to show the panel, but it spoils some stuff. But so Ryan Brown does a lot of action, like the onomatopoeia, and if somebody's getting stabbed, it'll just say stabbed, and just like he'll have a lot of those, and he'll just get real crazy with it and everything. And so there's a moment where I have a car that's getting crushed in my issue, and they have the normal crunching sounds, but then I put blart, Blart, and that is a reference to the fact that Ryan Brown, when he's at the conventions, he wears a Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 fanny pack. And we've talked about that many times, and it's hilarious. He's probably the only one to wear a Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 fanny pack. And because of his goofiness and having fun in his comics and everything, me putting Blart in there was just a little nod to Ryan Brown. So there we go. Barfly, super, super fun.
The entomologist too, on one of the pictures of the entomologist, he's got his signature brown right underneath the entomologist's butt.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's just so much to look at. It's a lot of fun, and that comedy team together.
Things there.
I want to see more from all of these people outside of this too, because Kyle Stark, Patton Oswalt, Ryan Brown, and it looks like Ryan Brown got to join the circuit because they had the San Diego Comic-Con, so like they were all there, and seeing pictures of Ryan Brown with Patton Oswalt and stuff is just cool because they're all just like, in the comic book world, we're all big fans of Ryan Brown, so it's cool to see that Patton, who is a huge comic book fan and stuff, and now he's rubbing shoulders with him and stuff too. So I love to see it. All right, we're gonna jump over to Kirby. What's your first book here?
Biker Mice from Mars #1, and the Celeber story. This is awesome. I really was happy when this came out. It starts out basically them just throttling around Mars, having some fun, and all of a sudden there's some issues where they're having this huge party with all their other mouse friends and stuff, and family members and cousins and all that stuff. They're having a big old party, and this big old thing just breaks into the party and just about takes out a couple characters right off the bat. And we find out that the fishmonger type characters are attacking everybody, and they're working with another faction of characters on Mars that joined up with them, and they want to wipe out all the mice characters and everybody else, just take over everything. And so it ends up becoming like a long ongoing war thing that they're gonna have to deal with, and they're putting together military factions they're working on. Biker mice are doing their own thing because they don't want to join up with the military, but yet they have a friend in the military that's been nagging them to join up with them. I've always liked Throttle, the brown mice character. He was always my favorite because he's more of a goofball and stuff, but we get to see some things in here where they get into dementia, which I was surprised to see pop in. He's talking to his mom. His mom doesn't remember his name and stuff at that moment. She has a good day later on.
Can anybody else hear Kirby?
He's still there?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Maybe I had something on my keyboard, so I heard you mention the dementia character.
Yeah.
I can hear them all through, so.
Okay.
I can hear you now, so I might have bumped something.
But yeah, his mom has dementia. He's going to visit her, and she doesn't remember his name. And then he sees her later, and she has a good day where she does remember him and stuff like that. So that was nice seeing that type of thing thrown into the story. Little reality things thrown in there. But yeah, we're getting to see that there's the fish heads are just trying to take everything over, and they're gonna cause all kinds of trouble throughout Mars. And as they are, the biker mice are trying to stay on their own path, but they do have their friend that's in the working with the police force and the military and stuff, and she is trying to drag him in, especially when a couple characters kind of have a thing for her. So but yeah, this is a really enjoyable start to the story. Giving us, I thought it was going to be run off the same story that we got a teaser from Free Comic Book Day. I thought for sure that's how this was going to start in the book, but it's a completely different story from that. So that was really nice. That one kind of just linked in with the Sect Towers and all the other things that were part of the Nacelloverse. But yeah, if you like these characters from the past, you'll love this. If you've never met them, I think you'd like this. But yeah, if you're into like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles type things and other groups of characters like that, that's what you're going to get from here. So a bunch of mice that just take over and take care of things, take care of the bad guys. So check it out. Oh yeah,
while on bikes.
Yep. And this is done by Melissa Flores and Francis Portella, and done by the Nacelloverse. So
cool. All right, let's jump over to Katie. What you got for us?
All right, this week I have cat+gamer Volume 5 by Wataru Nadatani and published by Dark Horse Manga. So I've got a few issues of this to the club, but it's been a little bit. So the title very much explains the book. So our main character is named Kozakura. She is, a professional. She works in the office, but she's pretty introverted, keeps to herself, whenever they're like, hey, like we're going out, do you want to come with us? Or, oh, we're taking this client to dinner. It'd be really nice if you were there. She's like, yeah, nah, and everyone's, kind of wonders why she always runs off. Well, she's a gamer girl, so she's always going home to play the latest games and log on and game with her friends. And, she's pretty content with that. And she's like, I don't mind it. I'm good. And all that changes one day when a little stray kitty needs a home, and he's just so gosh darn cute. She can't say no to this little kitty. So Musubi comes home with her and changes her life forever. Musubi is a black and white tuxedo cat and very, very cute. And then in volume 4, Musubi gets a friend because a lot of research says that kittens do better when they have another cat to kind of play with and wrestle with and show them how to be a cat. So now we have Soboro, which is a calico kitty, and she is a munchkin cat, so she's going to be permanently short, which very, very sweet. And most of the volumes are all around the same theme. They're about, her life as a new pet owner and how it changes. And then also all through viewed through the lens of gaming. So, like in here, she talks about sometimes when you are really excited and you want something, or you're really gunning for that special loot and grinding, it almost feels like the more you want it, the less likely you're going to get it, and as if it's like sending out signals to the universe. And the kitties learn this premise because they get an automatic feeder, and they're always, really like pawing for the good special treats rather than just their regular dry food. And they learn kitty meditation, and that you need to be patient and be grateful and accept what you're given, and then you'll be rewarded. And, of course, to their favor, they get excellent rolls of their kitty dice and get their special treats. And then there's a scene where Kozakura is clearing out like a dungeon in a game, and she's doing some dungeon delving, stays up real late. Next day she's running out the door to get to work, and the cats are left to their own devices, and they go on their own dungeon exploring adventure, which to us looks like they tore up the bathroom. But they defeated the evil toilet paper monster and got a critical hit on it. Something really cute now that we have 2 cats is we get little speech bubbles of the cats talking to each other and what their thoughts are, which is super adorable and really funny to see the world through a cat's eyes. There's a scene where she's playing with them with like one of those like feather toys and taking a lot of pictures for the gram because it's so cute. And she posts one and it goes viral because it looks just like a fighting pose from Street Fighter. Incidentally, something funny about this book is all of like the common games have their own names in universe to avoid copyrights. So that's pretty funny. And anyway, the internet loves cat photos, so she goes viral for a day and the kitties are famous. The cats also discover that, so for a while they were just kind of, chasing each other and doing laps, right? And they would trade off who's the leader, who's the chaser. because they're effectively practicing hunting. Well, then the kitties discovered that racing is a thing. So now they are going to run around and race and see who ends up winning. And so Kozakura builds them a little bit of an obstacle course. And then we close out with both kitties are getting kind of itchy and they're really going at their fur quite a bit. And so Kozakura goes to the pet store to see the Great Sage. The Great Sage is an employee at the pet store. And she's like, hey, what's up here? Well, turns out the boys, well, actually both kitties are blowing their summer coats and it's time for their winter coats to come in. So they're shedding and they're all really itchy. And Kozakura attempts to give Soboro a bath and Soboro hates it. She freaks out. She doesn't like it at all. Musubi loves getting baths. So she decides that Musubi is a rare water type kitten, but that regular cat's weaknesses is to water. Which is really funny, and hopefully Musubi won't be too upset by that, and she'll forgive Kozakura after some treats. And then there's a kind of funny scene where Kozakura comes home from the office. She's got like a lot of nice food. She's got a cake. She got premium cat food for the kitties and new dishes, and she's all excited and gonna have a nice dinner to celebrate the release of a new video game. It's Dragon Fantasia 11, and it's 20 years to the day since the first one came out. And she's all excited to stay up late and play games, and she's posting it online. And the kitties are always helping her, so they're swatting at the screen or going for trying to like use the what am I trying to say? They'll be like wanting to like play with her and be close with her while she's using the controller, so they get into it too. Well, she posted online, and one of her coworkers is like, oh my gosh, I forgot her birthday. She's spending her birthday all alone with her cats, which, really funny because she's like, oh man, she must feel so bad and so old. And Kozakura's like, this is the best day ever. This is fantastic. Really, really cute book. Very funny. I will say this is volume 5. It's pretty easy to follow if you haven't read all of them. Sure, it adds a little detail, but pretty straightforward. I have fun with these. They're simple. They're really nice books, like wind down and get ready to bed with because they are just very relaxing and there's not too much like deep lore or anything to follow. Another fun entry from Cat+gamer, now with 2 cats, by Wataru Nadatani. This is volume 5. Check it out.
Cool. All right, we are going to jump over to Jim. What you got?
I have a hardcover volume of all the issues of a book called Somna by Becky Cloonan and Tula Lotte. Anthony has the first issue there, I believe.
Yep.
This was a digital that I was interested in when it first came out, and then I ended up canceling all my ongoing subscriptions for the most part and didn't finish the story. And when I saw that this was coming out in a hardback, I wanted to get it and read it because I did enjoy issue number 1 quite a lot. This is kind of a story of the witch hunts, but not in America. It seems to be more of a Scandinavian nation. And there is a woman, Ingrid, who is the wife of basically he's a witch hunter. He works for the community, the Catholic Church, finding and prosecuting witches in the countryside. We open up on him going to the execution of a local witch who is somebody that they both knew, and they both knew that this woman's husband. So she is having these very interesting erotic dreams that involve a demon creature that is coming to tempt her. And she needs to hide this from her husband because she believes that this is something that he would not approve of. So she just keeps it quiet, and he is gone for long stretches. While he is gone for one of these stretches, she finds out that her best friend, another married woman in the village, has been having an affair with the widower of the witch who was just killed, and that this affair had been going on beforehand. This also adds more fuel to her fantastic dreams and temptations that she experiences. In the end, we find out that she is nearly succumbing to these temptations when her husband comes home and discovers her alone in front of the fireplace in the throes of passion, and decides that she is under the influence of a demon. Although she technically has not succumbed at that point, she is just being tempted. Her husband has to inform the priest, who insists on there being a persecution. She is tried. It goes through that all, and in the end, she does succumb to the temptation and allows the demon into her so that she can escape the punishment that she is supposed to have, and lives the life that she wants out of that. So it was a very interesting, it's a very convoluted romantic triangle, double-sided triangle, actually, because it's her and her husband, and her and her best friend, and this other woman, and like I said, double triangle. There is this very evil looking priest. I mean, while he's supposed to be a priest, he is just drawn and done so, like, he is obviously looking like the bad guy. Why anybody would accept him as a spiritual counselor, I don't know. But he is the leader of the community, and has a very powerful hold over everybody. Very interesting. The way the dreams are done, is the artwork is very incredible. Anthony tried to show some of the pictures. He was being very discreet about what he was showing. But it does, like I said, the dreams are very erotic, and some of them are very explicitly shown, so do not let this go to your kids. But if it's something, if you enjoy like the tales of the witch hunters and stuff like that, and if you enjoy the erotic stories, you probably will enjoy this one as well.
Yeah, I dug the first issue. I'd picked up most of the Distillery #1s when that company had started, and a lot of great creative teams and everything. And I revisited this one knowing that Jim was going to talk about it. And yeah, the art's really good, just kind of going back and forth between the dreams and the real life scenarios. Like, it looks like it's two different artists, but according to this here, it's just the one all the way through. But there's different colorists and stuff that are on the book, which I think is probably where some of that gets to play in there. But I think you see a lot of strengths in something that would appear to be, multiple, pencilers and things like that. But yeah, so yeah, it's a real, if you're into like witch books and stuff too, that was a pretty issue.
There were variant covers put out for each issue as well. And both Ms. Clunan and Ms. Lotte did covers for each issue, as well as other guest artists. So they do include a gallery of those in the back of this hardcover.
Cool. All right. That is going to do it for that one there. I'm going to jump over to my next one here. This will be the first of two Winnie the Pooh reviews that myself and Kirby will be talking about. I am bringing Pooh versus Bambi. This is a 3-issue limited series. I've read all 3 of them. I'll kind of just talk about, overall in general, not too many spoilers or anything, but this will be the synopsis, I believe, for just the first one. In war, there are rules, but the forest has none. Abandoned by his country, betrayed by those he once called family, and hunted by those who want nothing more than to keep him as a trophy. Pooh is on a mission, and no amount of honey will sate his thirst. He wants revenge. This comic is done by Joe Bruscia, Dave Fricini, David Wohl, Noah Mitchell, Jordi Tarragona, Juan Manuel Rodriguez, and Taylor Esposito. Um, yeah, they're, with all the stuff with Winnie the Pooh being in public domain, and then you got the Blood and Honey movie. I still haven't seen it yet. It's on my long list. But then you started seeing some of this stuff leak into comics of doing a more mature, action, crazy, you know, bloody type of take on these characters. And Zetascope has a lot of these kind of books when they do the what do they do? They do like the Wizard of Oz books and stuff, or like the Dorothy books and like Red Riding Hood, and they
They
section.
got Dorothy, they got Cinderella, they got all those different characters, but they were all female up until now. These are like the first two male characters I think I've seen in that verse.
And what's interesting is that while you
The
see
Three
Pooh and
Musketeers had a male hero as well.
what's that? Say it again.
The Three Musketeers and some of the elders were male, but the primary heroes were women.
And in the Pooh and Bambi, well, you see Pooh, Bambi, you see Eeyore, and you see Piglet, and you see all the characters that you would expect from the 100 Acre Wood, and there are a few surprising gender changes in this book. Nothing that really changes anything beyond just calling them he or she. So it's not done in any kind of crazy, like, not a complete reinvention or anything. But you can see some of the Zenoscope influence on having such a female led books of this kind of mature comics and stuff. And you see some of that thrown into here. Basically, this is like a war book. Imagine I can show this right off the bat here, where you have Tigger and Bambi and Pooh and I forget the rabbit's name off the top of my head, but Eeyore's back there. All the characters you would expect, and they're just thrown into like a military type of experiment. They're basically once animals who were experimented on and tested on and turned into super soldiers. That's basically what this story is. And I don't know if there's other stories that with these characters and other volumes, because you don't get a lot of the relationship beyond with like Bambi and Pooh. You're just kind of thrown in here, just being like, oh, they're sidekicks in this team. Now, obviously, the comic is Pooh versus Bambi, so you see that the change in guard, if you will, as the mini series goes on. But there really wasn't too much context on them on why like Bambi was thrown into here, but maybe that was done in something else. Also, it really wasn't needed other than all right. Bambi's a muscular deer that is teaming up with Pooh here, but uh, to kind of set up issue one and kind of the where the series goes, all of this action happens, and then there's a crucial moment in the middle of a battle, in the middle of a war, a mission that they're on, that kind of changes where the group goes, and the disbanding and people kind of going their own ways, and some time passing. And when we meet up with Pooh again, we see Pooh rather than the big, strong Rob Liefeld drawn Captain America type Pooh. We cut to Pooh, who is basically just kind of let a beard grow and just kind of sitting there, and you see a classic T-shirt over the belly, kind of riding up there, and you start to see what a more what we would know as Winnie the Pooh, sitting back and just being drunk on honey and whatever's happening over here. But this whole first issue setup is just Pooh, who is a tested on animal turned into a war hero, who is then off kind of setting, separated and kind of off on his own journey, trying to live with life after being a hero, and what happens when there is like a government group that seeks him out when he's just trying to move on and just live his life as this anthropomorphic bear. What happens when this group comes in and charges? I'll show this image here because it's from the cover as well, where these kind of the robot suit looking soldiers or whatever you want to, these foot soldiers are coming in and trying to arrest Pooh and bring him in. What's cool is that one of the characters that is part of this group, I don't want to show the reveal part. One of the characters that's kind of leading this group is perhaps one of the friends that we would know from Winnie the Pooh lore. So I'll just set that up. But it's a 3-issue series. All of them are out. I read them all today in a sitting. It was a lot of fun. I was looking at like an official rating. I never really think about it too much because I wasn't intending on passing this down to kids or anything, but definitely as a PG-13 rating. Yeah, you see some blood. There's a lot of violence and stuff like that. I don't recall if there's any language of any sort in here, but it is very graphic when it comes to the violence and stuff. So that's all I'll put on that warning there. But Pooh versus Bambi, it was a lot of fun, and I also pre-ordered the one that Kirby will be talking about next. This was not planned, everybody. I had read these this morning, and then I saw Kirby's list, and then he saw my list. So this was just a coincidence that we were both in a Winnie the Pooh mood. So what did you bring?
Just before I jump on that, I don't think those characters have been represented unless it's something that I just missed or whatever. And as far as all their other character books, yeah, graphically a little strong, but verbally, I don't remember anything bad in any of their books. So. All right. We got Winnie the Pooh Demon Hunter, number 1 of 4 from Antarctic Press. This is done by Nicholas Miller and Matthew D. Rise. It's fun how it starts out with a description that basically the Enchanted Land, okay, I thought it had a different name for it, was divided into 4 different kingdoms. You got the 4 different rulers, which you can kind of tell: Mother Goose, the Red Queen. Can't think of who the green top hat would be or the other girl would be, but I'm sure some people might know those characters from lore, but they don't give you the names or anything in there. But we start out with Pooh and Christopher Robin in the past on a mission to collect some honey, and they go off collecting honey, stealing honey from a farmer, get chased by the farmer and stuff. And they're just kicking back, eating, suffering from bellies full of honey, and they're talking, and Christopher's like, I want us to always be together. I'll always be with you, Pooh. I'll always support you. It'll never change. We'll always hang out together. And then we go to present day, where we got Pooh running around with a chainsaw, Christopher Robin with his red beard and his axe, and they're going around dealing with demons. And they start out in, it's not really a bar, it's kind of like a restaurant type area. Pooh just walks up and grabs someone's burger off their plate, and because he's hungry, munches it down. But we find out that their first character they're after, he's all robed up there when they find him, but it's the gingerbread man. And they get into a big old battle with the gingerbread man, and he's got some pretty cool abilities and stuff. Kind of a lot like Sandman, the way they play him out, because he's constantly shooting his arms out and changing his form and stuff. But yeah, you have a pretty good battle with those characters. And that goes on for a while, and then the story goes into a thing where the Pooh and Christopher are in search for Boo Boo, Pooh's little buddy.
Piglet?
Yeah, Piglet. Piglet's missing. He was kidnapped, and they are on the search for it. And while they're searching, they're coming across. Well, before that, they get fully into the search. The gingerbread man uses this special egg type thing and opens this portal that allows all these demons to start coming through, and they're battling their butts off the best they can, but they're losing the battle, and a character just happens to pop in that you can pretty much guess who that would be. Little Red Riding Hood. She comes in and she's kind of like, she's got more ability than they do, but she's in there wondering why they're going after certain class type fable characters and all alone without getting a hold of other people and stuff. But we get a kaiju creature that comes through the portal also that they got to deal with. That's why thankfully Little Red Riding Hood showed up to give them some backup. We get so many different crossovers in here with all the different fable characters, which is nice. I really enjoyed that. I did not expect that. A lot of characters get talked about that we're going to see later on in the book, I would assume. We have Humpty Dumpty's running this town that all the creatures came into, and he's all ticked off because his town got all destroyed and stuff. And then they sat there and basically told him about some things of his past and put him in his place. And then he's like, oh, well, don't worry, we'll have our whatever men come and put the whole city back together again. And all your little fable-y style little quips and stuff in here. But this was really enjoyable. I did not expect to like it this much, but I'm really glad I jumped on this one. It's 4 issues. I can't wait to see what other characters are going to pop up throughout here. But yeah, I definitely hope we see Tigger and Eeyore and stuff. But yeah, I like that they're searching for Piglet. So we at least know we're going to get some of the other Pooh characters along the way. But yeah, 2 fun Pooh books, it sounded like to me.
2 Pooh books that are definitely not full of, they're full of Pooh, but not really. So.
And I'm sorry, I'm taking it. I'm going to write something up. But when you said it, Pooh-hoo, that's a book in itself. That's a Dr. Seuss book in the future. I just feel it. You said Pooh-hoo during your review.
Oh, did I?
Who do the Pooh, the Pooh do who?
Now, also coincidentally, after the last couple months, I've been catching up on the Jim Cummings podcast. Tuned in with Jim Cummings. He's been the voice of Winnie the Pooh and Tigger too since the late 80s, and 400,000 other voices. And he has an awesome podcast, and I've been watching the video versions on YouTube. And coincidentally, today's episode just kind of talking about, the Pooh books. I was watching another one, and then they revealed a photo. He was talking about to some like librarian, historian type of guy, and he showed off the first photo of the Winnie the Pooh author's son, Christopher Robin, who was later the inspiration for Christopher Robin, who had gotten a teddy bear in I think in the 1920s as a birthday gift, which later became the inspiration for Winnie the Pooh. And I queued up the image here for us to see for you on the YouTube audience. But this is the first ever photo of the real life Christopher Robin with his teddy bear that would later become Winnie the Pooh. And so, yeah, you can go from the wholesome teddy bear here to the violent. There's a lot that happened from the 1920s version until what we're seeing now. But I thought it was fun to share that. I like it all. I'll take it all. But reading these books has inspired me. I saw Amazon has some reprinted collections of the original editions just to kind of keep them intact of how they're presented, the original storybooks and stuff. So I think I might dive into some of those hardcovers, and so I've been in a Winnie the Pooh mood. I can't wait to check out the Demon Hunters.
Yeah, I was looking forward to your review because I didn't order that. I was going to get the trade, but yeah.
A lot of fun. Jim?
Who was the publisher of that one, Kirby?
It's Antarctic Press.
Antarctic. Okay, thanks.
One of the best companies out there that Ben Dunn's part of.
Stay tuned. Maybe Pooh will have to do a crossover with my character, Rice Christopher. I'm not going to get that crazy yet. So, all right. Anyways, that's just me plugging my book throughout the episode. All right, to hit all the algorithms. We have one more review here at the club. So, Jim, take it away.
I have The Nice House by the Sea by James Tinian IV, art by Alvaro Martinez Bueno, colorist Jordi Belair, and World Design doing the lettering. This is the continuation series from JT4's Nice House by the Lake that was out last year and probably the year before. I don't remember how long it actually ran. And this is actually not a continuation of the same story, but a continuation in the same world, in the same timeline. Instead of being at like an upstate New York lake house, we are at a Mediterranean beach villa village, actually, kind of thing, where it's all spread over a whole bay of the Mediterranean. And it's a difference here. Hello?
I had a question for you. You said New York, wasn't? I thought A Nice House on the Lake was in Wisconsin.
It was more like New York, but some of the characters had been from Wisconsin, and some of the story took place in Wisconsin. You know, like the previous, you know, like the flashbacks parts of the story came from Wisconsin. Like a couple of the early main characters were from Wisconsin. Some of them were from Chicago. Some of it happened in New York. You know, so. But looking at some of the pictures with the mountains that they had around there,
yeah,
it wasn't. It wasn't Wisconsin. And
yeah, I got on it because of the Wisconsin theme, and then
yeah,
I see.
And I know
yeah.
Tinian does a lot of Wisconsin in his stories as well. So, but yeah, this one was like I said, a continuation. We have a whole new cast of characters, although they do follow the same kind of pattern where each one is kind of good at something, you know, like there's specialists and everything. The difference is they know that they were picked because of their specialty, and they know where they are and why they are there, and they know who it is that picked them and what that person is. So now it's more about the interpersonal drama and how they're acting, because we start out already, you know, it's like in the last series, they started out at the very beginning and they had to discover everything. We're already, I don't know, weeks or whatever in, and they know everything about the setup. They know everything about, you know, how it works, you know, how they can just basically ask for anything and it happens, kind of how that works out. They're there, and they know that there is another group that has set this up to save a certain part of humanity. So it's very interesting that way. And we do get a surprise near the end of the book that, well, some of these characters knew the mastermind of the last series, Walter. They knew him as well as the mastermind of this one, Max. So there's a crossover there. And then at the very end, we have some of the characters from the lake house appearing in the House by the Sea. So it looks like there's going to be an interesting storyline with that. So if you did follow that story, you would remember, you would absolutely recognize Nora appearing as one of those, and that was one of the most. While she herself was not controversial, she caused, just by being there, she caused some of the problems. So that's going to be interesting to see how this works out, because these people, it seems like they almost actually were volunteers to be in this position, where in the last place they were just picked because they were people that Walter loved, people that Walter wanted to save personally. Now they're there for a different reason because they have valuable skills. So to bring this one in is going to be an interesting change to the story. So I'm looking forward to the rest of this run. I was not anticipating this at all. I didn't hear any previous announcements of it, but because I had subscribed to the last series on Amazon/Comixology, they automatically dropped this one into my subscription, and I just found it when I opened up one day and was like, oh, look at that. So surprises do happen.
Good. All right.
I'm glad you're checking it out because I was going to wait for the trade because it's going to be like, what, 10, 12 issues?
I haven't heard yet, so I believe that's what the last one was, something like that.
Yep.
Cool. All right, that is going to do it for the weekly reviews, but we do have another segment, so let's jump over to the news.
And now, the news.
Welcome to part 1 of 2 of our previews. We will jump into the August catalogs for products coming out in October and beyond. This is where we go through, see what books are coming out, and we want to pre-order them and let our preferred shop and online retailer know what the books we want, so they can send them over to the publisher and the writers and the artists, and they can keep making this stuff. So we'll just go around and talk about what we are excited for. I'm sure this one will be on Kirby's list because we've been getting this for the last couple of years since they've been doing it. We'll start with Marvel first, by the way, Marvel and DC. So from Marvel is Crypt of Shadows. This is the 2024 edition for issue number 1. Quick synopsis. As All Hallows Eve approaches, the heroes of the Marvel Universe find themselves once again facing the terrors that lie in the dark. From creatures that lurk in the deep to sinister sorcery, don't miss out as your favorite heroes get put through the ringer and are forced to face down the malevolent forces of the Marvel Universe. Pick up this terrifying tome at your own peril, true believers. Yeah, so this maybe the 3rd year they've done it, 4th year maybe? I forget.
I think 3rd. I think it's the 3rd one I'll be getting.
But yeah, they've been pretty good, one-shots and everything, and good way to celebrate October. So that's Crypt of Shadows 2024 edition, number 1. Kirby?
Yeah, that was one of mine, and the only other Marvel one I had was Conquest 2099, number 1. Get down here. The Impaler Scorned. Dracula has conquered a world determined to quash him. Now, with an army at his back, he sets his sights on the new vampire homeworld, Domus Draconum. What he discovers will shatter his dark heart. What tragic event sets him on a collision course with Nova, Spider-Man, and the Spider-Woman of 2099, featuring the first appearance of Spider-Side 2099. I'm just going to get the first issue because I want to see this Spider-Side character, see who it is, but yeah. I'm assuming this is running right off of the Blood run. So
Cool. Katie, anything from Marvel?
Sure, just one new one. So we are getting a new era of Star Wars over at Marvel. We have Star Wars, The Battle of Jakku, Insurgency Rising. I'm not reading too many spoilers about this, but it looks like to be current canon's first foray, comic book wise, into the New Republic era, so post Return of the Jedi. This is going to be 1 of 4, and I'm wondering if there's going to be a series of different Battle of Jakku type books, just the way they're titling it. Anyway, should be interesting. Willing to check it out. It's by Carlos Segura, Leonard Kirk, and Phil Noto doing the covers. It'll be in shops October 2nd, and it will cost $4.99. Check it out.
Yeah, I've got that on my list as well, and it looks like it might be week by week because it looks like there's a 2nd and 3rd issue listed as well. So,
Sure.
So yeah, that might be rolling out in a weekly format. But yeah, I'll be getting that as well. Jim, anything from Marvel at all?
I have not looked at the catalogs, but I will be here hanging out looking for potential club picks. from what you guys recommend.
Cool. Yeah, I had that Star Wars one, and there was just those two for new ongoings for me for Marvel. I think was that it for Kirby then too. I think you said.
Yep.
And then Katie and Jim. I think we're done with Marvel already. So I'll kick it off here with DC Comics. Um, the Absolute Wonder Woman #1. I haven't been following the Absolute stuff. I'm not sure if it's new event or new timeline or what's going on here. But when I saw Wonder Woman #1 and I saw Kelly Thompson's name, I figured, all right, this will be a good jump on point for me, just to, at least with the Wonder Woman book, show off an awesome cover image there for the Absolute Wonder Woman. I don't know how long these series are going, but this one says, without the island paradise, without the sisterhood that shaped her, without a mission of peace, what's left is the absolute Amazon. The Eisner winning Kelly Thompson and breakout artist Hayden Sherman reinvent Wonder Woman from the ground up. So just knowing Kelly Thompson's on board to do that and kind of what feels like freedom to do whatever you want to do to tell a story about Wonder Woman without conflicting with any kind of continuity, that's just what I'm assuming. So I am picking up Absolute Wonder Woman #1. Kirby?
DC Horror presents Creature Commandos #1. A vampire, a werewolf, a gorgon, and an undead soldier walk into a grocery store, and all hell breaks loose. This is the Creature Unit, a team of misfits assembled by a madly talented scientist for a dangerous military mission. In this brand new era of Creature Commandos, penned by David Dashmalchian.
Desmalchin?
Yep, I knew I'd say it wrong. The claws are out, fangs are barred, and blood is spilled. Lots of it, but Creature Commandos, that's all I got to say.
Yeah, I'm on board with that one too. And David Desmalchin, who, if you see his face, you've seen him in every Marvel thing, you've seen him in every DC thing multiple times in multiple universes and takes. And he'll be in the Dark Knight, one of the Joker henchmen, and then he's over in the James Gunn universe doing stuff, and then he's doing animated stuff. Then he's writing his own comics. He does the Count Crowley stuff. So yeah, David Desmalchin, a name who I'd learned because he had been on Fat Man on Batman, Fat Man Beyond, and they've said his name many a time. So I get very happy when I say Desmalchin because you look at it and it is kind of it's a chore to read, um, but yeah, and Creature Commandos is the first thing that will come out for James Gunn's upcoming DC universe that's connected between the movies, the television shows, animation. I forget if video games upcoming are part of it too, but Creature Commandos comes out, I think, at the end of this year on probably Max, I assume. And the characters that are like Weasels in there, who was played by Sean Gunn in the Suicide Squad movie. Um, and if they are voicing the characters in Creature Commandos, that means they also get to play them in live action. So we don't know where they're popping up, but there's a bigger motive for these characters. So I was excited to see a comic book coming out, especially with David attached to it. So yep, I'm on board for that as well. Katie, anything from DC?
The Absolute Wonder Woman was a maybe one for me. That's potential. But other than that, I'm open to some club picks, but I didn't see any specifically that were, interesting me at the time.
All right, jump over to Jim. I'm curious if you have my next title on your list. Do you have anything?
I don't have a list, but I'm curious what you have now.
All right, this is Batman Full Moon #1. Look at that cover right now. There's a cover B that's done by Francesco Francavilla, but when I saw this one, I want to get both of them. But if I had to choose this first one, I just love that layout there is so
Yep.
cool. So this is a Black Label book, Batman Full Moon, and I thought I had the information, but I forgot to screenshot the description. So I don't know if anybody else had it. Otherwise, we'll move on to Kirby, and I'll come back with it.
All right, yeah. My last one for DC is Poison Ivy, Swamp Thing, Feral Trees, number one shot. There is something wrong with the trees. A presence screaming out in pain, tearing, gnashing, and gnawing through the very fabric of the green, calling out for blood. In its wake, a trail of viscera and carnage is left, leading to a mystery that the Parliament of Trees has conscripted Poison Ivy and Swamp Thing to solve. Can the verdant villainous and the avatar of green make their way into the heart of this homicidal wilderness and discover the source of this horror? Or will they find themselves the next victims of these feral trees? It's by G. Willow Wilson and Mike Perkins. So I like that combination of characters. I was always waiting for some things with them. So.
Yeah, that's on my list as well. And what G. Willow Wilson's been doing with Poison Ivy, I've got maybe about 5 to 10 issues to catch up on, but I still read like 15 of them. Series that started off as a mini series and it just keeps getting more, and I think now it's just an ongoing. And the best way I can describe it is like this is the Alan Moore Swamp Thing treatment for Poison Ivy in coming out of the mind of G. Willow Wilson. And it's such a good story, and I'm excited for that little one-off there too, or whatever miniseries or something.
And I got the full moon description if you don't.
So. Yeah, I just pulled it up as well. This is by Rodney Barnes and Stevan Subic. It's a gory Gotham horror story with glow-in-the-dark covers, everybody. I am a sucker for a gimmick. An ancient and supernatural force stalks the streets of Gotham City, a lichen so powerful it'll defy Batman's most trusted resources, his brilliant mind and extensive gadgetry. But are Batman's physical strength and resilience alone enough to put the creature down for good? Or will this fight strip him down to his very bones? Even powerful magical allies like Zatanna caution that Bruce might not walk away from this one unscathed. And here's the creators I mentioned. They tear into a horrific tale of pain and redemption as Batman meets his match, the werewolf of Gotham City. Each issue of the series will boast striking glow-in-the-dark main covers. Ooh, that main covers. So yeah, it looks like fun. It's a DC Black Label, most likely a limited series of sorts. So probably.
Yeah, I wish they'd give how many because I want to get it, but I don't know if I want to wait for the trade or not.
I would say at least 3, I think, but that seems like DC Black Label. I mean, it could be anything, but I think 3 is always when it's like every other month or something. But
if Jim does get it and you decide you wanted to at least do issue 1 for a club pick, I'll at least pick the first one up. But with all glow in the dark covers, I don't see why I won't get them all.
Yeah. Cool. Katie, anything else from DC?
Oh, I was shaking my head. No, thank you. But
okay.
I'm interested in that one that you were all talking about too. So if you wanted to bring issue 1 to the club, go for it.
For the Batman Full Moon?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, let me just text myself here real quick so I remember to tell everybody. Batman Full
What's the release date on that?
I already deleted the image. Let me see if it's on my website here. October 9th.
Seems like it'll be a good Halloween one. We like to do those.
I'm not finding a digital listing yet, so I have to remind myself to go back and look for it.
All right, okay. I'm going to post about it in the club for everybody to know, for Eric and everybody too. Okay, back on track. Here's another one. DC Horror Presents #1. This is written by Various and art by Various. And in tradition to the last one, and this is me just buying time as I hit the search button so none of you know that I am I'm just going to amp this up like no other before. And of course I type in DC and it automatically fills out comics because I have that autofill and I don't want comics in my description, but I'm typing DC horror and that didn't buy me enough time. Kirby, if you found it, feel free to jump in, but I think I might have to put presents in there. Nope, it's not even coming. Oh, it threw in comics again. This is a real.
My computer is pretty frozen up, but I do know I did read that.
I got it.
Okay.
written by the Boulay brothers, David DeSmulchin and Leah Kilpatrick Bones. Hold on. Leah Kilpatrick. Okay. I thought her last name was Bones because there's no period there, but that's a pretty awesome name if she was Leah Kilpatrick Bones. But it's Leah Kilpatrick, period. Bones crunching, worms munching, blood spattering rather. These are a few of our favorite things. From some of the most dark and cunning minds in horror comes DC Horror Presents, a new collection of gruesome tales set in the DCU with stories penned by some of our favorite names in horror. This anthology will have die-hard horror fans quaking with fear. And yeah, look at that crazy Superman cover there. Yeah. So, DC Horror Presents #1. Okay.
That's another one I'm considering, but they didn't give enough information about any of the little stories in it.
Yeah. And that is, I had the Poison Ivy one. That's it for me. And is that it for everybody, I think?
Yeah.
All right. So that is going to do it. We only covered a couple things. We've been buying a lot more independent stuff, including things like Rice Christopher coming out in September. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't check out the previews for yourself and ask your local retailer, go to your online retailer of choice, go through the catalogs, tons and tons of stuff. I still have other Marvel and DC stuff. Those are just some of the #1s and everything. So I still have ongoings and everything like that. In the next episode, we'll cover all of the independent stuff for the previews. But yeah, that is going to do it for the show. Thank you for checking it out. And to kind of throw it back to the start of the show, officially announcing Rice Christopher, keeping it a secret for the past half a year. More information will be available as you check my social media as I slowly start the promotion tour. We'll have our own creator interview with the guy who wrote this, the guy who drew this, the guy who colored it, the letterer, the editor. We're going to get all of those people in the form of one person, which is me. So we're going to interview me. I'm going to interview myself, whatever we're going to do. We're going to do that on its own separate episode like we've done with other creator interviews to kind of spotlight that. Cartoonist by Night, after this episode, we are doing a shorter little special as I kind of do a version of what we'll do on Crimson as well. So yeah, we have a couple companion episodes to help promote this. But the big thing to remember is that if you want yourself a copy on day one, you check out the Milwaukee Mighty Con, Saturday, September 14th, 2024, Wisconsin State Fair Park. The admission is extremely cheap. Go to mightyconshows.com. You can get an advance ticket discount, I believe. I think there's a really good deal for kids. I don't want to say they're free, but I think they might be. They always have good deals. If not, they're extremely cheap to get in. But this is the one that I am most excited to revisit each time. It's the one that I always have the biggest turnout for the table. I just love the space. I love the people that come by. David will be joining me and selling art and prints and his comic book Tales from the North. So we'll be there both as comic book creators side by side. So I'm excited for that. And then if you are friends and family, you'll be receiving messages on how to obtain your copies if you're unable to go. And then for any online orders and such, all of that information will be released right after the con. Once I see what kind of inventory I have before I have to, hopefully I have to hit a reorder button. But I have a lot of copies anyways, but all of that information will be available as you follow the social medias, but officially be coming out in mid-September, 1 month away from the time of the release of this episode. All right, so check that out. That'll be the upcoming event for myself and David. Otherwise, go to crimsoncowl.com for info and original webcomics. Go to Crimson Cowl Comic Club on iTunes. Subscribe, rate, and review. If you are listening to us on iTunes and you wanted to see what this Rice Christopher character looked like, check us out on YouTube, Crimson Cowl Comic Club over on YouTube. Kirby has a spin-off podcast called Under the Cowl of MS. You want to let the people know what's been going on over there?
Got some more unpacking, some original artwork coming up, some possible future adventures with a creator that was on our Crimson Cowl Comic Club not long ago, and that's been making some extra appearances with us. We're gonna be sitting down and talking about whether or not we can get something going for that.
Cool.
And lots of reviews, previews, and all that good stuff coming up. So check it out.
Excellent. So follow Under the Cowl of MS all across social medias and, of course, YouTube. Subscribe. I have art accounts on Facebook and Instagram. Anthony Laatsch, Laatsch. You'll start seeing all of Rice Christopher related stuff to slowly promote it. I'm not going to do a one-a-day promotion. I don't want to annoy people for the month countdown, but I'll have a slow rollout plan to kind of let people know about this comic book release. So check out the Instagram accounts over there. If you are local to us in Kewaskum, Wisconsin, check out The Gift Nook. Bunch of local creators and crafters. I have some original sketch cards and prints there and stuff like that. I did get a check in the mail, so I sold something there. So unless it was one of you guys there, I think maybe a stranger bought it. But okay, I could only assume that maybe Shelly went in there and started buying some stuff. But either way, I'd appreciate it. But it was cool to get a check in the mail there. Let's see here. Oh yeah, Comics in beautiful downtown Skokie. If you are local to them, I have some original sketch cards there, a bunch of Creature from the Black Lagoon, but drawn in a bunch of recognizable cartoon characters. So I'm not sure if any had sold, but there's Ren and Stimpy and Beavis and Butthead and Family Guy. I think I sold the Bob's Burgers one at a convention, but I had a bunch of different recognizable cartoon characters, but drawn as the Gill Man. So check out Comics in beautiful downtown Skokie and Cartoonist by Night over on YouTube. The latest episode, that's right, was Art Baltazar. Art Baltazar joined us to draw and discuss monkeys. So all of the pop culture monkeys that we could think of, we were talking about them there. That show exists because of Art Baltazar and Franco and Scoot and everybody that's involved with Comics, but we were all brought together through the fandom of Art and Franco, and it was exciting to finally have the schedules aligned to get Art on the show, and it was a blast. And there's a lot of stories that I knew that from when he is told, but I set up those questions anyways because I love hearing, the moments when he met Franco. And you get some good stories from Jamie Cosley's episode that happened beforehand. So you get a follow-up question from Jamie's episode into Art's episode. A lot of fun stuff. And then I guess by the time this releases, we'll have a Rice Christopher-centric one too, just kind of me diving into a little more detail, stuff that I'll also talk about that'll have additional questions and whatever you guys want to know about Rice Christopher that I want to share before anyone reads the book. So that is all the stuff. A lot of fun stuff going on. Like, subscribe, share, tell a friend if you like what we're doing here. Let people know what's going on over at Crimson Cowl Comic Club, Under the Cowl of MS, and Cartoonist by Night. That's enough for talking. That's going to do it for this episode. This whole time, I've been craving honey.
I've been going to Mars Bike Week with Demon Hunting Bear.
I've been a gamer cat.
Cereal check, mushrooms check, butter check, sunglasses. I'm set.
Thank you, Slimer.
In a world with so many stories, from movies to television, and of course, comic books, comes a story that's only available in one of the three mediums I listed earlier. What you are about to see in this trailer is a character debut like you've never seen before. And now, we're just buying dramatic time by repeating the same shots that you just got done watching. We are truly very sorry about that. And now, introducing Rice Christopher!